Hi, it's Emma from Women's Health and Hormones here. Today I want to talk about how to get pregnant again without giving up breastfeeding. If you have a child already who you're breastfeeding, but you have a longing and a yearning to grow your family and have another baby, but you don't want to give up breastfeeding, sometimes you can be in a bit of a tricky situation. There are plenty of women who fall pregnant and conceive additional children while they're still breastfeeding, but for some women, breastfeeding can inhibit ovulation and the return of the menstrual cycle, and definitely can inhibit fertility. If you want to get pregnant again without giving up breastfeeding, there are some strategies that you can employ that will actually help you with that goal. My first suggestion would be to stop night feeds. We know that the number of feeds you're giving your infant or your child throughout the course of 24 hours will influence the return of ovulation, and stopping night feeds is one of the best ways to change that number of feeds that you're giving to actually restore ovulation. We also know that abrupt changes bring back fertility more quickly and at a higher threshold of breastfeeding than gradual changes. So whilst it might feel like more of a shock to your baby or your child and yourself to very quickly stop night feeds rather than doing a slow transition, for your fertility, that's actually preferable. Of course, you need to manage this in the way that's best for your family and for your current child. But if you really want to fall pregnant again without giving up breastfeeding, stopping night feeds abruptly rather than slowly transitioning them out can make a big difference. We also know that probably for a similar reason, starting your baby on solids, depending on your baby's age, can also be helpful. Once you start your baby on solids, automatically the number of feeds that most infants have throughout the course of the day reduces, but also it has an influence on the way your body actually produces breast milk. This, of course, will be dependent on your child's age, so I definitely wouldn't recommend introducing solids before the age of 4 months. But anywhere between the age of 4 to 6 months is ideal for introducing solids. So if your baby's within that age range and you really want to get pregnant again, I would highly recommend starting your child on solids. Optimizing your nutrient status is essential. Pregnancy and breastfeeding takes a huge toll on nutrient status for women. When you're pregnant, the majority of your nutrients will actually go to your bubba. When you're breastfeeding, mum gets nutrients first, and then the remainder of the nutrients get processed and transferred through the breast milk to bub. So your body, if you're currently breastfeeding, will be nutritionally depleted. For the health of your next baby, for your health, and also for the health of your current child who you're breastfeeding, you want to focus on restoring your nutrients as much as you possibly can. Make sure you're taking a good quality pregnancy formula, and I would recommend that you take a formula that contains activated nutrients. We know that pregnancy multis that contain activated nutrients are much more easily absorbed by the body, and depending on how your body utilizes nutrients, depending on what's going on with your genetics, how your body absorbs and utilizes nutrients, those activated nutrients, or form of nutrients, might be essential. So I would highly recommend you swap to activated nutrients. Try to make sure you're also including an essential fatty acid supplement, an EPA-DHA supplement, some additional magnesium, and also just have a look at what's going on with your diet. When you're breastfeeding and you've got a young child, it's really easy to let your diet start to slip a little bit because you're so busy caring for another child. But caring for your body is just important, particularly if you do want to fall pregnant again when you're breastfeeding. You need to up the nutrient density of the foods that you're eating. So have a really close look at your diet and look at how you can improve your diet. I'd also recommend you get your hormones checked. If you have a thyroid hormone condition, that can definitely delay ovulation from occurring. So get your thyroid hormones checked, and also check for polycystic ovarian syndrome. If you have polycystic ovarian syndrome and you're breastfeeding, again, it can really slow down the return of ovulation for you. So keep an eye on that and get your hormones tested. Make time with your partner as well. Make sure that you are having intercourse, even if your periods haven't returned. Some mums don't even get a period in between one bub and pregnancy with the next child. If they're very lucky, or if you're very lucky, you can actually catch the first egg. So relying on the return of your period isn't necessarily a good sign. You want to look for signs of ovulation. So make sure you're having regular intercourse with your partner, but also monitor your body for signs of ovulation. Increase in cervical mucus production is probably the most reliable sign there. So as soon as you start to notice that cervical mucus production returning, it's a good chance that you're actually ovulating for the first time since you gave birth. And if you can catch the release of that first egg by making sure that you're having regular intercourse, you might even fall pregnant again without actually having a period. So that does happen. Also looking to getting your partner's health checked. We know if there's any issues with sperm health, it can actually be corrected over an 8-week time zone, which is only a very short amount of time. So again, if you want to try and catch that first egg, you want to make sure that your partner's sperm health is ideal and optimal, so that you get the best chance of actually conceiving first time around. If none of these strategies work, you need to have a good think about how old you are and how quickly you want to conceive your next child. We know that for women who are over the age of 36, fertility does start to decline. So if you are over the age of 36, you might want to consider ceasing breastfeeding sooner rather than later. By doing so, you're going to have a much better chance of conceiving at an older age. So keep that in the back of your mind. It certainly doesn't mean that you won't conceive while you're breastfeeding, particularly if you're mindful of all of the other strategies we discussed. But I think you do need to be realistic about the impact that age can have on fertility, and make the most of the opportunity to grow your family if this is something that's really important to you. I hope this information gives you some hope and also some first steps in looking at how you can increase your fertility and improve your chances of getting pregnant naturally while you're still breastfeeding. Please let me know if you have any questions. Bye for now.